All right, so this is for the ACP speech class. This is the supplement to the syllabus. So this class is through IU, and there's a very structured thing that we put in for that. And so I add a supplement to that for some extra things that I want to clarify and make sure we're all on the same page for. Okay? So a few things. At the end of the speeches, the students will be asking a question to the speaker. And so each speaker has to be able to answer a question about their topic. And so it'll just be the person who has spoken before them will be the person to ask the question. Okay? We'll do this on speeches 2, 3, and 4, not the first one. The first one's an introduction speech, but we'll go through that. So the first person to speak, okay, the very last person in the order will be the one to question them, and then the first person after they're done speaking will ask the second person the question, and the second person, when they're done speaking, will ask the third person, and we'll work our way through that. But that is one part of the rubric that's in there for them. Work days in there. Okay? I will be providing a number of work days. I know that especially for this class, we've got a lot of kids taking a lot of college classes for that. And so I try to give them plenty of time to be able to work on preparing their speech in class. And so they can ask me questions, they can practice, they can bounce it off each other in there. While they're doing work days, I may have some things that they've got to work on during that time. Okay? But also, I know other teachers are going to have that. And so my viewpoint is I want these students to understand that when they go to college, you've got to figure out how to use your time wisely. And so I understand that they may have, I've had students having 5, 6 dual credit classes all in the same semester. That's a lot of work. And so when I give them a work day for speech and they go, you know what, I've got a test later today that I really need to study for. Okay, study for your test. Just realize you're going to have to find your own time to prepare for the speech. And so we'll work through that. Okay? Yeah. All right. Point breakdowns. Oops. I have things that are in there that are put into Google Classroom. They're put into PowerSchool, and how I'm breaking some things down. IU, again, has a specific rubric that was shown in the regular syllabus video for that. And then I break some things out for that. Just pay attention to how those work in there so that it's a little more obvious of what those points are going to look like. Right? All right. So here's how I'm going to score these. Okay? I've kind of had this in the past. I've started to refine it a little bit and fine tune it. And I think maybe I'm where I want to be. We'll see. Okay. So each speech that's given, not the first one, but 2, 3, and 4, there is a time range, and they will say, okay, it's a 5-minute speech plus or minus 30 seconds. You have 4.5 to 5.5 minutes. So you got an entire minute in there of range for that, and they will have plenty of time to prep for it. Okay? And we build up to some of the bigger times in that. Okay? So if they meet the time requirement, any score is possible. But it's probably going to be pretty good, especially hitting that time frame in there. Okay, if they are outside of the time range, okay, so we're going to use that 5 minutes with 4.5 to 5.5 in there. Okay? If they're outside of that 4.5 to 5.5, either under or over, they cannot earn the maximum points. Okay, so here's how it's going to work: 4.5 to 5.5. If you are 4 to 4.5, 5.5 to 6. The best you can get is an 89%. You can't get an A. Okay? If you're outside of that 4 to 6 range, okay, then you are going to be the best you can get is a C in that, okay? And a C plus in there. Okay? So now realize just because you meet the time requirement doesn't mean you're going to get that 90% or above. Okay? There'll be a real reflection based on your skill, but I am tightening up my rubric a little bit to understand where students need to be and make sure that they're being responsible and making those time restrictions and the expectations for that. Okay? At the end of every speech, we do a PowerPoint party, which is just a fun time, a fun kind of silly topic. With the IU speeches, they are designed for speaking, not for visual aids. So the PowerPoint party allows them to use PowerPoint or Google Slides, Canvas, like whatever they want to use in that, and create a speech on this fun topic. There is no time requirement. There's none of those things. I want them to be reasonable and fun. And what I've noticed as we go through the semester, they get a little bit longer each time because they start to get more in depth and kind of competitive at times for it. Okay. So we'll finish a main speech. I will give them the topic. They'll have a day or two, or maybe a weekend to prepare, and then we start in on them. Okay. Students are to give me those Google Slides ahead of time so that I can have those pulled up on the computer and that we're ready to go for those. Okay. Just kind of a fun time with that. Spartan tickets, if they've done something exceptional, outstanding, then they're going to get one. I don't know what those are because it's individual basis of things and spur of the moment type of stuff. I will say, though, that if they dress up for any designated spirit days during the semester, then they do get a Spartan ticket for that, encouraging school spirit for that. Okay. Down lower, I have the rubrics for each of the speeches, and I'll be talking about those in class so that students see those. But that is just some of the supplemental stuff of what's going to be in there. So hopefully that helps explain a little bit more about what we're doing in the ACP, or the dual credit speech class. So if you got questions, please feel free to ask me and I can clarify those for you. Have a great day.